Hello, this is JuJuan Buford. I am the founder of JSB Business Solutions Group and the co-founder of Next Op Social. And this is going to be a little bit of a convoluted talk. It's something that's going to be a little bit off the cuff, if you will. And what I want to talk about is a conversation I had earlier today with a good friend and business partner that I thought would serve the entrepreneur community well. And what we talked about is really how to change your circumstances. He was basically talking to me about how he was basically going through some BS.com. Okay, life was not going his way. Murphy's Law was in full effect. And he was asking me, look, how do I turn things around? How do I change the business? How do I change my circumstance? How do I act on the environment around me? And, I had to give him a tough talk, a little bit of tough love. Sometimes as a partner and friend, you have to have conversations with people who are uncomfortable. You have to say things that people necessarily don't want to hear, but need to hear. And a couple things, three really, with the limited time I have for my next presentation, I wanted to get this out the way, right? So the first thing I encourage him to consider is this. Number one, you have to become more valuable. That's the bottom line. You have to become more valuable. Individuals were telling him to pick up a second and third job. And look, there's nothing wrong with it. There's no judgment. Sometimes you have to do what you have to do. Sometimes you have to do things that you don't want to do until you're in a position to do things that you are able to do. But I told him this. I said, look, if you pick up a second job, that second and third job may not necessarily change your circumstances, because if you have not made yourself more valuable, you're still going to earn wages that aren't sufficient enough to support the lifestyle that you're taking aim at, right? So if you are working as a parking attendant, if you're working at McDonald's, if you're working at CVS, and your skill set has led you there, meaning you may not have the education and skills to punch above that weight class in terms of occupation. And there's nothing wrong with it. We all start somewhere, right? So let me be clear about this. I am not defecating on individuals who may be working in service industries, working lower wages, but the bottom line is your thoughts, your behaviors, your skill set, your intellectual acumen or level of attainment have brought you to this place oftentimes. And in order for you to level up, whether it be at a job or even in your business, you have to acquire more skills. That's just the bottom line. You have to become more valuable. Your compensation, especially if you're an entrepreneur, is directly correlated with the value that you're bringing to the marketplace. So if you want to increase your income, more times than not, you have to increase your value. So you have to take the time to read the books. You have to take the time to attend the webinars. You have to take the time to attend the seminars. You have to take the time to participate in activities and exhibit behaviors that are directly in alignment with what you need to learn and the talents you need to acquire. So you may need to burn the midnight oil or wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and spend an hour to 2 hours taking courses, reading books, listening to podcasts, doing whatever it is you need to do to become more valuable, to be able to do more, to be able to help people, right? And quite frankly, to be able to help people who are already above your weight class in terms of your income. The bottom line is if you're working with people who earn $30,000 a year, you're going to earn $30,000 a year. If you're working with people who earn $50,000 a year, that's what you're going to earn. If you are solving problems with people who earn 100K or 250K or 500K, you're going to earn the income that the individuals whom you are serving typically earn. That's just the reality. That's how it works, particularly if you're in the service industry. So the first thing I share with them is, look, you're spending time playing Super Nintendo or whatever it is. I don't play video games anymore. I'm just being transparent. You're spending time on YouTube entertaining yourself. You're spending time watching movies on Netflix when you could be spending that time, quite frankly, finding a way to level up, learning new skills, learning new talents that you do not have and you need to have to become more viable or more I want to say valuable, but also just become salient in the marketplace. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Be able to serve better, serve more. All right? So that's number one. Number two, you need to watch who you're talking to. You need to watch people that you are engaging. Look, I'm not saying diss your friends. I'm not saying diss your family. But if they don't have the solutions to your problems, you should not be interacting with them. So often, because we want to be cool, we want to be the smartest person in the room. We want to be the individual that comes in and we're just chill, right? We're comfortable. Well, look, number one, success is found outside your comfort zone. You got to put yourself in spaces where you are the weak link, where you have a choice. You get embarrassed, called out, you feel some kind of way, or you respond by saying, you know what? I'm going to level up in this space. I'm going to learn the things that I don't know. I'm going to interact with people who have the solutions to my problems. I'm going to accept the tough love. For the longest, with a number of my business partners, I kind of took it easy on them, right? Because oftentimes even I fall into the trap. I don't want to offend people's sensibilities. I don't want to hurt their feelings. But you know what? I'd rather your feelings be hurt than you look up 10 years from now, you're at the same place that you are today. Sometimes you have to say some uncomfortable things. And if you're mad at me for 10, 15 minutes, or if you're mad at me for 10, 15 hours, or 10, 15 weeks, or hell, 5, 10 years, so be it. But I'd rather you be mad at me and get rich than be cool with what I'm saying to you, and you're sitting up chilling on your butt, and you're not leveling up and do the things you need to do. So you need to be willing to put yourself in spaces. You know, this particular partner of mine would feel some kind of way when he was jumping on conference calls and participating in webcasts with individuals who are much further along in their entrepreneurial experience. And look, the individuals let him have it. They told him he was wrong in his thinking. They told him he was wrong in his behavior. They told him that, look, you need to make some significant adjustments. He wants to get prideful and get upset. He wants to share his thoughts and opinions. Look, your thoughts and opinions don't mean jack, okay? Your thoughts have brought you to where you're at. The individuals, when you're in a room where other people are leveling up who are much further ahead than you, they're not interested in your thoughts. Your thoughts have brought you to the place where you're at. You need to be listening. You have 2 ears and a mouth for a reason. You need to shut up. And when individuals give you advice and guidance, particularly if they're punched at a higher weight class than you, you'd be advised to be quiet and just take direction and be coachable. That's just the reality matter. So you have to be willing to put yourself in uncomfortable spaces where you are not the know-it-all, where you're not the most intelligent person, and you definitely don't want to be around individuals who don't have your solutions. You know, opinions are kind of like armpits. Some of them stink. If you're having conversations, if you're hanging out with people who have the same problems you have, who are not aspirant to go above and beyond where they're at, if they have not made it above and beyond the conditions that you are dealing with that is causing you hardship, you need not be in that space. They cannot help you. Aside from patting you on the back and saying everything's okay and giving you some advice is actually going to have you stuck where you're at, that's all they can do for you. You got to level up. You got to change the trajectory. And the only way you do that is be around people who are operating at a higher level. That's just the bottom line. All right, so the third thing that I advise them to do is, look, you got to be willing to do more. The being is in the doing. That's just the bottom line. You have to do more. Look, do nothing people are going to give you do nothing advice. Look, one of the biggest lessons, one of the most important experiences I had is I remember several years ago, I ended up traveling outside Detroit Metro, and I was hanging out with a couple friends in New York, hanging out with a couple friends in Charlotte, hanging out with a couple friends in Atlanta, and a couple people. I was doing this world tour where I was hanging out with people in Los Angeles, all over the place. And one of the first things I noticed, I thought my work ethic was insane. People around me, see, this is why you gotta be careful about the people around you. They were telling me I was a workaholic. They were telling me I was crazy. You know, today's my birthday and I'm getting it in, right? Got a presentation I gotta give in 15 minutes while I'm talking so fast. And people were saying, JuJuan, what's wrong with you? You crazy, man. Why are you working so much? Why are you grinding so much? And then I visit these other places and the people are grinding harder than me. I'm thinking I'm doing something because I'm putting in 14 hours. I'm finding out my competitors, because that's what they are. They may not be direct competitors, but we're all competing for everyone's disposable income. If we're building businesses and we're scaling, we're all competing for talent. They were outworking me. They were doing 16, 18 hours. And that was a wake-up call for me. I thought I was crushing it because I was around individuals who had reached a certain level. They weren't willing to pay the price to go above it. I started hanging around other individuals. I saw their work and I said, oh shit. I might be the ish in my environment, but outside of my environment, individuals are getting it in at a much greater level than I am. And so, look, that's what I'm saying. Once again, I'm not telling you to diss your friends or diss your family or diss your associations or people who have poured into you. But if you want more than what other people have, you gotta be willing to do more. That's just the bottom line. Oftentimes, we just don't want to do the volume, right? We don't want to do the volume of calls. I'm having a conversation with someone, they said they do about 100 dials a week. And I kind of scoffed at them. And it wasn't out of disrespect. It wasn't to be condescending. But hell, 100 hours a day, that's like eating Skittles for me. That's what's necessary. If you don't have the connections, if you don't have the political relationships, if you don't have the advantages that other people who are further along have, you have to outwork them. It is what it is, especially in the beginning. If you're just starting your entrepreneurial journey, you have not developed the entrepreneurial muscle. The only way you develop that muscle is by doing more work. You want bigger arms, you gotta do more push-ups. You want bigger legs, you gotta do more squats. You want to build your endurance. Instead of running half a mile, you have to go through the pain and punishment and strain of running 2 miles. That's all it is to it. You can't outthink your way out of this. You can't out-strategize your way out of this. You can't outsmart your way. Look, if intellect was all that's required to be successful as an entrepreneur, the professors would be multi-billionaires. They're not for a reason. Knowledge is not power. Your wonderful, fantastic thoughts, this wonderful intellect you think you bring it to the table doesn't mean jack shit. Ideals are good, execution is better. You got to get out here and you have to execute. You know, talking to, once again, same individual. I'm asking like, okay, what are you doing on social media? I'm posting. What about the engagement? Okay, you post, that's great. You better respond to those likes. You better respond to those shares. Somebody emails you, you need to be thirsty. Every interaction, if somebody's willing to engage your content, I don't care what it is, share, a like, whatever the case may be, you interact, you engage, right? So, you know, today I spent several, I don't know, maybe an hour, maybe an hour and a half on my LinkedIn profile, reaching out to about 20 or 30 individuals. I'm talking to other individuals, they're only reaching out to 10 people a week. Are you kidding me? No, 20 a day. We're talking about volume here. You have to make up for the resources you don't have. I'm trying to break into a new industry. I'm trying to learn the real estate investment industry. I'm trying to learn the publishing industry. These are skill stacks and knowledge sets that I'm not an expert at yet. I'm not elite at it yet. I have to outwork my competition. That is the only way I'm going to be able to get it done. They know more than me, so I have to run faster than them. That's all there is to it, and there's no getting around this. You know, door knocking. You don't want to door knock because you're too cool? Okay. You're going to sit your cool behind your mediocrity. Get out and door knock. Get out and build lists. Yes, you got to take the time. Build a list. Big list, big checks. Small list, small checks. No list, no checks. It is what it is. You got to take the time. You got to know who you're taking aim at. It just is what it is. You know, building the email list, belly-to-belly conversations, meeting with someone at a coffee shop, taking a 30-minute drive. I know it's a pandemic. You got to do what you have to do. If somebody insists that you drive 20, 30 minutes, now if you want to keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting what you're getting. You have to give extra. You got to be willing to do more. Right, so I'm going to go hard on this. This volume piece is actually being willing to do the work. You know, the challenge is you're not getting the traction that you want. It's about AOMA, all out massive action. I'm going to keep banging this drum. All out massive action. You have big dreams, big goals, then you have to go big. The bottom line is most of your competition, particularly if you're new to entrepreneurship or if you're new to any endeavor, they've put in their 10,000 hours. They've put in there, so they're better than you. Entrepreneurship is not easy. You're not only, understand you're competing against people who are learning faster than you. They're working harder than you. They're grinding more than you are. You may not be aware of it. You know, what drove Michael Jordan and some of these athletes that we revere today is they were scared at the people who were coming behind them. They weren't scared of their current competitors. They were scared of the individuals who were going to come behind them and take their lunch. Those people who were still hungry, they had to motivate themselves to stay hungry. That's the approach you have to take in your business. You know, I hear people complain about not getting traction via social media on YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn or whatever. Look at early Gary Vee. Look at early Noel Randall. Look at early Earn Your Leisure. Look at early Bigger Pockets. They looked like spam in the beginning, but they kept doing the work. They kept posting, not just once a day, 2, 3, 5, 6 times a day. There are times where, look, quality obviously is going to take you far. But sometimes if you're not there yet, you have to do the quantity. Sometimes quantity does trump quality. They were doing a lot of quantity. But you know what? The more you do something, the better you get at it. The better you get at it, the more you do it. You start to enjoy it. You start to develop a skill stack, right? You start to become more proficient, more efficient at it. When you first started trying to learn how to tie your shoes when you were a kid, probably took you an hour the first time you tried to do it, right? But you get better at it over the course of time, and now you can tie your shoes in 16 seconds. It's no different. This is entrepreneurship. You got to respect the game. So number one, you have to be the person you need to be. You need to do the things that you need to do, that your business, that your dreams, that your goals and objectives require of you. And that is how you have. There's no getting away around it. You want more output, you have to increase the inputs. And even when you reach a degree of elite skills, even if you reach a degree of proficiency, be aware of the fact that other people have around you too. You cannot rest on your laurels. This is entrepreneurship. This is not a W-2. This is not the job. You can't get it in and win for a period of time and expect that's going to transpire indefinitely. You don't think your competitors are going to catch up with you? This is just part of the deal, right? If you want to be successful. So this is the conversation I had with them. You know, I'm going to wrap up with this. Once again, you can't outsmart the process. I'm sorry. You can't outthink the process. You're not the most brilliant person on the face of the earth, Most of the things that you're looking to accomplish nowadays, especially given social media and our access to information, other people are doing too, or have already done it. So once again, they have a head start. Okay, there's not much new underneath the sun. People are just doing it differently. They're delivering the same services and products and experiences just with more convenience, and they're finding more ways to make it sexy. But at the end of the game, at the end of the day, it's still the same deal. So understand that, right? This is the game, once again, you chose to play. So the other thing you need to do, and I really wrap up here because I got to start this presentation in a minute, is look, you have to do what matters. You have to do what matters. What are the things that matter? Number one, you need to reach out to people you know. I don't want to hear this nonsense that I hear being articulated. Well, I don't want to work with my friends and family. You need to work with the people you know. I'm not going to, look, you just start there with the people that you know. The people are currently in your network. In the beginning, they're just practice. Understand that. You're just sharpening the saw, right? It's part of that be, do, have. You're practicing on your family and friends. You're getting the objections from them first. You do not want to try to jump right out in the cold market first. You want to start with the people you know. You want to post to the audience you know. You want to make people aware. The bag is not acquiring a client in the beginning. The bag is as many people as possible being aware of what it is that you do, because even if they don't patronize you, they can become brand advocates. And what's better, cold calling or receiving referrals? So you start, number one, by reaching out, picking up the phone, text messaging, not sending indirect messages, social media, and you don't have a person's email or phone number. That's crazy. All you're doing is setting the table for somebody else. You share information about your product service. I come behind you because I'm bolder than you and I'm not lazy. I get their phone number and email, so I develop more of a relationship. I engage them. Even if they're friends of yours, I engage them more so than you did. So I end up taking your candy. That's what ends up happening out here. No, you pick up the phone. You call people, you can't reach them on the phone, you text message them. Social media should be like the last avenue. That is the least effective way. I'm going to say it again. It is the least effective way to engage people. Now, if you do it at volume, if you do it at scale, it can work. But you're not going to replace an eyeball-to-eyeball conversation, a belly-to-belly discussion. You cannot replace social media. I mean, you cannot substitute social media for picking the phone and talking to someone. They need to hear you, see you, right? A lot of your success in business is based on your enthusiasm. People are reading your body language. People want to win with winners. And they can't see that via social media oftentimes. I'm just being real with you, okay? And then you need to reach out to people that you don't know. And then, of course, there's advertising, right? So now we're talking about paid ads, things like that. But you're going to start reaching out to people you know. You're going to send information to an audience that you know. So you're going to post to people that you know. You're going to engage that audience, email campaigns, whatever the case may be. And then what you're going to do is you're going to start reaching out to people you know. And let me tell you this. If you are cold calling, that is your punishment for not asking for referrals. Repeat it again. If you're cold calling, it's your punishment for not asking for referrals. You are getting what you deserve. If you don't understand how to ask for referrals, let's set up a follow-up, reach out to me in social media, whatever the case may be, and we can talk about how to upgrade your follow-up game. But what you want to do is you want to create brand ambassadors. You want to be acquiring referrals from people whom you love, know, and trust, people who love, know, and trust you, or at least respect your value proposition. Okay, that's just the bottom line. There's a ratio, and then I really am going to end because I'm running really up against it. 100, 30, 10, 3, 1. 100, 30, 10, 3, 1. On average, you make 100 dials. People are not going to be available. The decision maker is not going to be present. The phone number is going to be disconnected. And look, I'm telling you, this has worked in my capacity as an investment advisor, as a B2B consultant, now working for the real estate industry, now looking for clients in terms of publishing work and copywriting. It always bears out. You make 100 dials, you're only going to get in contact with 30 people. That's the reality of the matter, okay? Out of the 30 people, even if you're highly effective, do not believe the YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, BS.com. Nobody is batting at 100%. Okay, even the most effective of us probably bat at about 30%. And I'm very, very effective on the phone. And there are weeks where everyone says yes, but there are also weeks where most people say no. But if you're just reasonably okay, you should be at some point, you reach a competency where out of 100 people, you talk to 30, 10 of them are willing to learn more about what you're doing. I didn't say 10 of them are willing to buy. I said 10 people are willing out of 30 to learn what it is that you're doing. And out of those 10, if you know how to communicate a value prop, if you're utilizing tools, if you're utilizing mentorship, or if you're smart and you're not good at sales, you find people to do the sales for you, right? Out of 10 people who learn about your value prop, 3 will patronize you. and one will become your client. What's the client? The client is someone who not only acquires your service or product, visits your restaurant, goes to your website. The client is the person that patronizes you, and then they start referring people and they bring their friends. If you want to increase those ratios, you do more volume so you get better at it. And so you start to focus on your market more effectively. So maybe you don't need to contact 100 people to reach 30. Or maybe when you reach 30, because you're more effective, because you've been doing it, the volume increases your capacity and your skill set. So out of 30 people that you talk to, because you qualified them properly, instead of 10 appointments, maybe you get 15, maybe you get 20. And then if you get better at your presentation, you get better at communicating the value prop, you learn some sales skills and acumen, if you will. You learn how to form people properly, family, occupation, recreation, motivation. That's a reference to another training. I may do a deep dive later on about that. You form people more effectively so you get more yeses. And then because you're forming them more effectively, not only are they buying a product, but they also like you. So they become a brand ambassador. So not only do they acquire the product or service, but they also go out and tell other people about it. So that's what I wanted to share today. That's what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to get it out while I was on top of my mind, because the conversation happened was so fierce, and I wanted to kind of maintain and bring that energy today. All right. With that being said, I celebrate success in advance. Goodbye for now.